Alrighty, welcome back, fellas. Today we have another day in the NBA, and we have a small slate, only 5 games on, but I do like 2 of the games to be betting on. 2 of the other games are kind of washy, and the last one I'm avoiding pretty much at all costs, but we're going to hop straight into that, wasting no time. We are going to be taking these plays on Underdog, but sadly, Underdog is down right now, so I can't kind of show the screen, so we're going to stay on Pickett. If you use code BDG, you can sign up for absolutely free, 0 cost on Pickett. Also use code BDG when you sign up on Underdog. We're going to waste no time. The first game we have today that I want to be betting on is Brooklyn and the Pelicans. You're probably like, gut, that's disgusting. I know. But it is a 1.5 spread. There is no Zion Williamson anymore as he's out indefinitely, as he's probably the most injury-prone player to ever grace the floor of a basketball court. It might go down as one of the biggest busts of all time. Yeah, there's a lot of movement in this game. A lot of money line movement. The spread keeps moving back and forth. I lean towards the net side of things, and that's the way we're going to kind of bet today. So I do have 2 player props for you. The first one's going to be Ben Simmons. Disgusting, I know. To go over 5.5 assists. He's so far crushed this line this season. Obviously, he's hit this in 5 of 7 games, you can see in front of you. But the matchup is really there tonight. Now, again, he's seeing a ton of minutes, which we didn't see as much last year. Last year, his minutes fluctuated all the way around. He's averaging a solid 25 minutes a night. And if I scroll down here, you can see it's pretty consistent, right? 23 is his lowest. 23.8 minutes is his lowest minutes. 27 is his highest. He's seeing a consistent 25 minutes a night. So you know exactly what you're going to get out of him. He's averaging 11.4 potential assists, which is exactly where we want it to be. It is over. It is about doubled of where his assist line is, and he has a great matchup, right? So the Pelicans allow the 5th most assists. I can also pull up this graph for you because I know it's a little more visual appealing. The Pelicans allow the 5th most assists this season and the 4th most assists to opposing point guards. According to this site right here on Props Madness, it's the 3rd most assists to opposing point guards. But the Pelicans also allow the 2nd most transition points, which is something to note, which means there's going to be a lot of easy breaks, a lot of easy fast opportunities for Ben Simmons to get the ball out. And he's also hit over this spread, obviously 5 of 7 games, averaging 6.1 assists per game. So, or season average is 6.4. My mistake. So yeah, it seems like this should be a great opportunity for him to absolutely smash this line. As you can see a little bit on the right side, I think it might be cut off on your screen. The assist line looks great. Again, 5th most for the position. They also allow a ton of points in the paint. So I think there's going to be a lot of backdoor cuts today, especially with how well the players around him have been playing. Cam Thomas, I think, is going to step up. He's more of an ISO guy, but he does work well off the pick and roll. And as well as Cam Johnson, who's actually been performing fantastic over the past couple of weeks. I was low-key leaning into Ben points just because of how many points this team gives up in the paint and the transition stuff. But if you want to lean that way, that's fine. That's 6.5 points for him, but I think I'm going to stay assists as he's been just cashing out on this every single game. In the past 3 games, he's at 11, 6, and 8 against Boston, who's a very tough assist team. Chicago, who's not light, just gave up a ton to Trae Young the other day, but they're still not a super easy team. And Detroit, who's been actually very good defense against point guards this season. So he's been doing it against tough teams. I think he continues to do it here. The spread is really close too, so we should see his solid minutes line. We should get his normal. There shouldn't be any blowout opportunity there. And he should easily soar over this mark. Our next play is going to be in that same game, but it's going to be PRA. So points, rebounds, and assists. And it's going to be Cam Johnson. This line is wrong. At 21.5. Right, so he's hit this in 7 of 10 games this season. He's been rolling, as you can see. This is 5 of the last 5 games he's hit this line, and in the last 5 games, he's averaging 27.8 PRA in those games. He's shooting pretty well, but it's nothing that's unsustainable right now, which is the biggest thing we want to take away. So when you look at his field goal percentage, you're like, oh my God, is it unsustainable? He's only had 2 games where he's been over 50%. He's normally a 50% field shooter. 3-point percentage has honestly been lower than typical for him. He's been only getting he shot 3 of 12 the other game. Let's just put it at that. That's not his normal 3-point percentages here, as he was a 40% shooter pretty much his entire career. And I think he's going to continue that. He's seeing the 3-point attempts as well, which is going to pair nicely with how bad this Pelicans defense is. I get the screen is a little bit cut off. Maybe I can move it in here. You can see that this Pelicans defense versus power forwards and versus small forwards, because he's going to play both tonight. So let's look at small forwards first. That's where he's primarily going to play. And you're probably like, God, that's not where he plays. He's listed as a power forward. Yeah, but he's actually not been playing the power forward this season. I can pull that up real quick. So as you can see on Basketball Monster, this is just another good reference to have just for looking at lineups. Dorian Finney-Smith has been playing 28 minutes a night, and he's been the primary power forward for this team. So we're going to look mainly at Cam Johnson, small forward, but he does move to the power forward, so we'll also look at those numbers as well. But when you're looking at PRA, you want to look at everything. So small forwards, again, 24th in points allowed, 22 average. They also allow the 10th most assists. They allow a ton of points in the paint. The second chance points is through the roof, and the three-point percentages. This is what's key for a guy like Cam Johnson. They allow the highest field goal percentage. They allow the second most three-pointers made. They allow the most or the highest three-point percentage so far this season, and they allow the third most field goal attempts made to small forwards this season. You're like, okay, but what about the power forward position if he moves over there? They allow the most points to power forwards. They allow the 6th most assists to power forwards. Obviously, the rebounding lines are a little bit lower, but I'm not too worried about that, as he's not a huge rebounding guy anyway, but I still think he'll get the number up anyway. What's his rebounds been recently? Rebound chances have been pretty high. He had a game of 16. I don't think that's realistic. He's going to be more around the 7 or 8 mark, and he's going to come down with about 4 or 5 rebounds on average. I don't think that's going to change much tonight. But again, three-point percentage, 5th most for power forwards. So he's field goal percentage, or field goal attempts at least, is 2nd highest. So it's, again, they're allowing a ton of stuff. Again, PR. You can see PRA. They allow the 6th most PRA for power forwards, and they allow the 10th most PRA to small forwards. So he's in a great wheelhouse there. Matchup is definitely there. And again, no Zion Williamson to be guarding him, which is good, because when Zion plays, normally he is an absolute menace. So we do get to avoid that problem in general. But now we're going to move on. I'm going to put that graphic back so it's a little bit bigger. And we're going to move on to our second game, which is going to be the Chicago versus Cleveland game. The Cavs, 11-0 right now. They're rolling. We can move on. This is also where I got my picks at, if you're wondering. BetMGM plus 100. And Cam Johnson at minus 115 on DraftKings. That line is moving, so make sure when you see this video, you get on that ASAP. And make sure you're following on Pick, because then you can just literally copy the bet and it'll auto-place it for you, which is really sick and a really cool feature that they have. So we're going to move on to the next game, which is going to be Chicago and Cleveland. Now, again, Cleveland is undefeated. Literally undefeated. They are on a crazy run. Their defense has been insane. The spread of this game is 7.5 for a reason. Now, do I like that spread? Not entirely. Chicago's played very close spread so far this season. Dude, people are just hammering Cleveland. Holy shit. Everyone loves Cleveland. I understand they're 11-0, but you don't think there's going to be any close game? That's crazy. But I do. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than here. I think it's going to be anywhere from like a 6 to 7 point game. Could end further, but I think throughout the game, it's going to be a little bit closer than they're going to seem. But I do have Donovan Mitchell, 23.5 points, and I feel great about this. All right, Donovan Mitchell obviously has had his woes this year, but when you look at it from a why, like why has he been shooting so bad, or why has he not been hitting this line? He's only hit this in 5 of 11 games. You look at the blowouts. There's been some insane blowouts where he's only seen 22 minutes, 26 minutes, 27 minutes, 29 minutes, and in these absolute blowout 15-plus point win games, he doesn't necessarily hit this line as much. Like, again, 12 points versus Golden State. He only played 26 minutes. In games where they won by 15 plus, he's only averaging, 28 minutes a night? That's not normally going to get you 23 points done. Comparative to last season, where he was playing a lot more minutes in these wins. So they're trying to conserve him a little bit more. Even wins by 10, he's just not seeing the minutes in the shot attempts here, averaging 27 minutes in wins that they win by 10. Now, I think the Chicago defense is going to give them a little bit more problems. Chicago's defense is pretty solid so far this season, but against shooting guards, they stink. So against everyone but Donovan Mitchell, they should be pretty well-rounded. But against shooting guards, the most points so far this season, allowing 27.58 points to shooting guards per game. So they're allowing a ton of points. And the three-point percentage is also nuts. They're allowing the 2nd most threes per game. They're allowing the 4th highest three-point percentage and the most field goal attempts, along with the 4th highest field goal percentage. They're allowing an insane amount of points to shooting guards so far this season. Now, again, you go to Basketball Monster, and you're like, okay, is he even playing much of the 2? Yeah, he is, of course, because Darius Garland's there. So he's going to play a little bit of 2, a little bit of the 1, but not nearly as much in the comparison like it was with Cam Johnson, where Cam Johnson will flip-flop. Donovan Mitchell probably won't. Is he main ball handler sometimes? Main ball handler sometimes? Yeah, 100%. But that's not going to change where he's at. Now, again, you look at the three-point attempts at least, and that's what I kind of also want to look at. 3-point attempts so far this season is averaging 7.6. So again, that number earlier that I mentioned of how they give up so many 3-point attempts is very key here as well. So obviously a ton of 3-point attempts. 3-pointers made, he's averaging 3.1 per game. I think that can go up. Again, he's had games attempting 11, 10. And against this Chicago team, we've seen shooting guards take way over that line in recent games. When you look at shooting guards that have played the Chicago team, Anthony Edwards, 33 points. Cam Thomas, 32 points. Desmond Bane had 30 points. CJ McCollum had 23 points dating back to the beginning of the season. So we've had some big games come out of the Chicago defense from the shooting guard perspective, and I think that's going to continue here today. Donnie Mitchell looks to kind of get back on track. Had a few games of 30, but nothing crazy so far this season. I think he kind of dials it in here. Usage has been fine. It's gone down the past few games. There's been a lot of blowouts. I don't think this is going to be a blowout just because of how well so far this Chicago team's been kind of just a scrappy, annoying, they stay in the damn game type team. And I think it could be a little bit closer with Cleveland tonight than the books are thinking. I lean Donovan Mitchell points here. Those are the 3 main bets I have today. If we go over just the main slate, because we will, just not going to leave you guys hanging. Kings are coming off a back-to-back against the Spurs. The spread is only 1.5. So there are some good lines here. Our lean Spurs lines, if you're going to look at player props. Sacramento off back-to-backs traditionally hasn't been as good. So it's going to be tough to really be betting on them to be overperforming. Or you can bet on their unders. That also would work. Sabonis under rebounds, maybe against Wemby. Could be a good shout. Wizards, Rockets, bleh, stay away. Disgusting. I think Rockets win by a lot, but it's just a disgusting game. 13.5 is the spread for a reason. And then the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Thunder. I've had trouble betting on the Thunder this year, so that's one of the games where I was a little weary about it. Especially against the Clippers. The Clippers are a hard team to really nail down rotations right now outside of like just James Harden. So if you're going to bet that, I probably would bet just almost like here. I think I would easily take the 6.5 for the OKC. But as you can see, the line movement has just been disgusting. But most people are going to be laying the money line with OKC. Most people are taking the spread of the Clippers. Think it's going to be close in that regard. But either way, this game's just really shaky for me to want to bet on. The Thunder are just a tough team because their rotation's so deep. They also lose Chet Holmgren now, so we'll have to see how that turns out and how that looks for them. But for the most part, I'm going to be staying away from that game from player props. But again, if you were to take any side, I would lean the OKC Thunder side, even without Chet. Again, that over-under is disgustingly low. 218, 211. That's some low games today, huh? Anyway, that's all for me today. It's all for the NBA slate for this beautiful Monday on November 11th. If you guys like, make sure to like, subscribe, all that sort of fun shit down below. It's the best way to support the channel. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace.